Hey everyone, this is going to be a pretty random video, just about what I've done this past weekend and some things about around where I live that are pretty cool. Okay, anyway, this weekend went out with my buddy to a Shooto fighting match, and I'm going to show you some clips that are going to be coming like while you're watching this. First thing, you're going to see me like in Shinjuku before I actually meet up with my friend. Then you're going to see us at the match really quick, like just a few second clip, so you can hear the announcer and see kind of like the little production value. Then you're going to see us outside after we went somewhere to eat afterwards, and then we got lured into a karaoke place. You'll see us like talking to the guy out on the street. And I made some new friends. He introduced me to his other Japanese friends, which also ended up being one of the fighters. That's who we were going to see. But I didn't know we were going to be sitting like with his wife. So they were all really awesome. So this area we went to was like the old Yakuza areas, like Japanese mafia. They don't have as much control there anymore, so people say. And a lot of people try to make this place sound like cooler than it is, or like, ooh, there's mafia everywhere. And they tried to mess with me and I did something cool, like, no you didn't. But they're behind the scenes controlling some businesses, I'm sure, protection payout or whatever type deal. So anyway, go to this fight. It was actually in like the 7th floor of some building. Only maybe about 300 people there, but the production value was freaking awesome, and all the fighters were really great. You'll see like a really quick clip. It's not the people actually fighting, but you'll see one of the dudes like warming up, and you can just tell like these are like ripped up, really well trained guys, and the fights were great. But anyway, during the fight, right in front of us, 2 dudes rolled up and sat down the end, and then behind them was like a stream of like 4 like super hot Japanese girls. I mean, just wow. And so the 2 dudes sat together, and then so there's one girl by one dude, and then like the 3 girls down here by themselves right in front of us. And so it's me and my buddy and his friend, which is now my friend too. So we're all 3 guys sitting there, and it's like 3 really hot Japanese girls right in front of us, and it's like we're gonna be here hanging out, yelling and stuff at the fights. And I was like, hey man, I was like, this is looking good, to my buddy basically, and he's like, no. He's like sorry. I'm like, what? He's like Yakuza mitai. He whispered this to me, and so he basically said like that's a Japanese mafia type person that they're with. That's like his little entourage of girls. It's like, so we will not be talking to them. And I was like, oh, okay, got it. And he had a fighter in there, you could obviously tell. And his fighter actually had like the best, freaking destroyed this dude. And I thought the guy was dead. It was that bad of a knockout. And then they got up and left after that fight. So that was just kind of interesting to see. It's nothing dangerous at all, because guys are just, I mean, to you, unless you did something stupid, to one of them, but they want you to spend their money at their places. So anyway, so yeah, you'll see clips, but anyway, you'll see that. You go in there, you'll see a real short clip of the fight. Then afterwards get lured into a karaoke place. You'll see a guy passed out inside the karaoke place. That's how you know it's good. And then just my friends goofing off inside the karaoke booth. And in Japan, if you don't know, you rent your own like private karaoke booth. They're all over the place. It's a super popular thing to do, and I never thought it would be fun, but it is. It's awesome. And you pay like a set, maybe like $30 or something, and you can get drink and food like unlimited for a set period of time, maybe from like 12. We did it from like 12 or 1 till all the way in the morning, like 5 in the morning. Yeah, and I think it's like only $30 a person, and just unlimited, whatever, you just keep ordering. Also, okay, so you'll have that, you'll see that. So, roll it. Okay, I'm fixing to go to a Shooto match here in Shinjuku, but behind me, you see the people in the yellow jackets. They're, it's like no smoking on the street, so they just stand out here to remind people that they shouldn't be smoking when they're walking, and instead to use like the designated smoking areas on the street. There'll be like ashtrays and little squares marked out on parts of the street for people to stand and smoke. keep things clean. And yeah, I'm talking to myself on this phone, so it looks like I'm crazy, but there's lots of crazy people in Tokyo. So yeah, so let me give you here's my night tonight. Yeah, so I don't know that show. We'll go watch it. Shooto is basically a martial art, kind of like wrestling, a martial art event, kind of mixed between MMA and fake wrestling, from what I've used to remember, at least from the really old school stuff. So I'm going to meet up with my buddy Tetsuya, and he's going to show me around. Apparently his old friend from high school is now a Shooto fighter, and this is one of his, I guess, bigger matches against like a more well-known Shooto fighter. So we'll see how it goes, and check back in later. All right.
赤コーナーより門脇秀樹選手の入場です。知らないように海に逃げてばかりじゃなくね、道を進むのは簡単だよね。でも今だけセブンさん、よかったらそこの店舗じゃなくてキャベン方、はい、よかったら行きましょう。
So you saw that stuff, so fun times. So now, talk about where I've been living. It's not where I'm living, where I do live. It's a place called Kagurazaka. And people in Japan probably know where it is. I can walk to Iidabashi Station, Iidabashi Eki. And so I love this area so far. It's really great. It's like a older school area, so a little upscale, so that's kind of cool. But it's really close to my school, and I'm 2 stops from the Yamanote-sen, which is the main line that circles Japan. So, yeah, so I'm really close to my school, and then really close by default to all the stuff that's on the west side of the Yamanote circle. But then I'm only 1 stop and walking distance to Iidabashi Eki, or Iidabashi Station, which is extremely useful station because it's pretty kind of like in the very center of Tokyo. Yeah, my apartment's like inside the train loop, so it's freaking awesome. And then Iidabashi Station has lines that go like everywhere that I want to go just about. So it's like I can get to, I can take my station, Kagurazaka Station, and get to Shinjuku in like, 10 minutes, which Shinjuku's like one of those places, the crazy you see on TV places. I go there all the time. And then on the opposite end of town, basically, through Iidabashi Station, which is only 1 stop away from my station, or like 15 minute walk, I can get to like Akihabara in like 7 minutes, something like that, or like 12 minutes maybe. And that's like a big electronic district. And then there's lines going all over. I think I had to get to Shibuya from Iidabashi, yeah, which is another crazy. So it's really useful. But anyway, so I never actually walked all the way towards Iidabashi Station before. I had stopped short because it's real hilly area, and I thought after my station, the density of like restaurants and businesses had tapered off because all the density of most things in Japan are centered around the train station that you're closest to. So I thought that ended, and I thought it'd be a little while before the stuff around Iidabashi Station picked back up. But little did I know, as soon as I crested that next little hill, it's like, oh, bam, no, there was Iidabashi Station. It's way closer than I thought it would be. And it's freaking awesome because there's all this stuff I've just found now. It's like way more than anything around my apartment that I've already seen. So I've got way more stuff to do that's really close to me just because I'm an idiot and just didn't walk that way, basically. And so yeah, I went down there, and I have a BookOff by me, and I have a good size one, which is awesome. And that's the next thing we'll talk about real quick here. We'll cut this video because I want to wipe my nose. There. That was efficient wiping. you just witnessed. Alright. So BookOff, it's a used bookstore in Japan. And it is freaking great. So I went there and I got, I'll show you this. It's like Japanese, it's called manga. You can think of it as like comic books, kinda. But here's a key difference, is that it's not just for kids. In fact, not only is it not just for kids, it's just as much for adults, if not more so. Manga in Japan are used for everything. Like any type of book style that you can think of that you'd have like in a normal book in America will be represented through a comic book style book in Japan. We're talking about even historical, like factual cooking books or history books or, medical type books. You can find everything in a manga format. And it's huge, and in the stores you'll see all the business people, everybody with their suits on, and really fashionable, girls dressed up, or office women, and they're, buying their comic books. Because like I said, they're not really, some of them are comic books, more akin to American style, it's like crazy superhero stuff. There's tons of those. But then there's all kinds of other styles. And anyway, so they're really good reading practice, because there's a lot of context, because there's pictures. So I went in there and bought some, because I've actually never read an entire manga before, and I need to start doing it. So yeah, so all these, or each one of these was like $1.15 converted to U.S. money. So that's freaking cheap and great. I don't know what this is, like a Mountain Common book. This is Kurozuka. But I have no idea what this is about. This is one called Blood. It's about a vampire hunting girl, schoolgirl. I think there's an anime cartoon about this, but I haven't seen it or read this either. So, and then I bought this called One Piece. This is the most popular book in all of Japan, actually. I think it holds the record for book sales now, at least over the time period that it's been out. Of course, I'm sure some like the freaking Japanese dictionary, has actually sold more because it's been around for 100 years or whatever. But yeah, I've never seen this. They actually made a cartoon about this as well. I've never seen that nor read it. But I do know it's about pirates, and I do know everybody in Japan knows about this. So I'd actually tried to find the first volume. There's like 60 now, because I saw that the 60th one became like the biggest selling book ever or something. And I couldn't find the first volume, but I was in there today, and I did. So I bought it. So I'm going to give that a shot. Actually seems, just by first glance, like something I would not be interested in. It's like pirates, but they kind of like silly looking. But if that many Japanese people, and it's mainly, it's tons of adults, read this, figure I might as well get caught up at least, or at least say I know something about it if it comes up in conversation, even if I don't end up really liking it. But then, the great thing, I was in there in BookOff, and they have, I guess you kind of say, a little side market where they do used DVD and like video game and music CD sales. So I went up to that floor, and I saw a little batch down low of like old Sega Saturn games. Because Sega Saturn's like really old, obviously. And they weren't even organized. And Japanese are really big about organizing. They're like usually stuff's amazingly well organized. But they were just thrown down there, so it's like, man, I'm just going to shuffle through them, every one of them, because there weren't that many, see if there's any gems. Because I kind of have an idea of pricing on these old games. And I knew since they didn't specialize in this, and since it's just thrown down there, they might not be well aware of the prices, and they could have mispriced some things, that there could be some gems. And there were. So, yeah, so this is, Virtual Fighter 2. You can go ahead and just look at that price right there. Fighters Mega Mix. Fighting Vipers. Vampire Hunter. So all these were each $1, or $1.15. And they'll be in perfect condition because every used Japanese game is in perfect condition. You know. So, yeah. And then, of course, I bought a Sega Saturn game when I bought my Sega Saturn for like $8 or $9. It was there for $1. So, almost bought it again just, you know, for the heck of it. Just so I could look at it and be mad that I didn't buy it the first time. Then here's Shining Force 3 for like $2.75. And X-Men vs. Street Fighter for $5.50. And then I bought some completely. This game says nothing on the front or back except basically it's like Imuje, the Mystery Hospital. No idea. It's gonna be terrible, I'm sure, because it's $1. I've never heard of it. And it says nothing about it. Maybe it's Michael Jackson's Mystery Hospital, MJ's Mystery Hospital, and that would make it a good game. So anyway, so yeah, that's great. And so don't go to the BookOff on Itabashi or around Itabashi Station and steal all my cheap Sega Saturn games. In fact, it wasn't even there. It was in Yokohama actually. Just lied. So go there. That's where the cheap ones were. And stay away from where I live, all you video game nerds. Because I'm not one. So anyway, so I hope I can get all this in the video in the time limit. So let's see if that's possible. Alright everyone, later.